Hey everyone, Sparrow here, and today I'm talking about the best way to heal from narcissistic abuse, okay? So this is a tough one for so many because when we're suffering from narcissistic abuse, there's a whole bunch of other things that go along with that, right? Betrayal trauma, PTSD, sometimes it can activate our complex PTSD from childhood, depression, anxiety. We get stuck sometimes in our sympathetic nervous system. I mean, there's just so many issues, which then, affects our appetite, our sleep, everything, our energy levels, or even our immune systems decrease when we're suffering from narcissistic abuse. So it is really critical to help yourself heal from this narcissistic abuse and to make that your number one priority, because still a lot of times what we do is we still tend to hyper focus on the narcissist even after a breakup, and then we're still not the number one priority. But our health and our healing should be the top priority here, okay? So the number one thing that needs to be done here is you have to fall in love with yourself. Okay, when we fall in love with a narcissist, we give so much of ourselves away, so much of our power, so much of our energy, our attention, and then our sense of self is outside of us. It's with that narcissist. We need to bring that center right back here. We need to be centered in ourselves. Our sense of self needs to be with us. And in order to do that, we have to really be able to see ourselves. Now, if you go back in time, I will guarantee you that you had at least one parent who couldn't see you when you were growing up. Oftentimes it's both parents, but you had at least one parent who couldn't see you, who couldn't pour into you, who couldn't nurture you, who couldn't value you. And that's where the wound really starts. And what happens is then that narcissist comes and it has a weakened place to enter, kind of like a virus, right? If you get a cut on your finger, then you're much more prone for a bacteria to enter into your skin through the broken skin, right? So it's kind of the same with a narcissist. We have a core wound, and it's typically not from them, although sometimes it can be. 90% of the time it's from a caregiver, and we are wounded, we are weakened in an area, and that's where the narcissist sees they're in, okay? So we have to go back in time and we have to heal that broken spot so that we don't attract any more narcissists. And this is a labor of love. This is where you have to dig deep and truly love yourself and value yourself enough to do that work, because it's hard, it's gut-wrenching, it's emotional, and it would be so much easier to just brush it to the side or just go out and date somebody else and focus on something else. But really and truly, it's the greatest time to do your self-work. And when I say fall in love with yourself, I'm talking about this right here, my facet theory and facet integration technique, which is really a deep dive into getting to know you, all of the parts or facets of your personality, going back through your childhood and the different developmental stages, and falling in love with every aspect of yourself, because these are all your children. They're still you in their various ages, and they all want love and nurturing and attention. And that is the key. That is so important. And once we get to know those facets of ourselves, then it's really time to see, okay, where are they stunted in their development? And let's help them. Let's pour into them. Let's develop them. And that can actually be a really fun process. When I was going through this process, one of the things that I realized was from a very early age, no one had really poured into me. And I had a lot of potential. I had music potential. I had dance potential. I had athletic ability and potential that no one had really ever helped me develop. So one of the things I did, in addition to going to therapy and doing a lot of self-help, I poured into myself. I got tennis lessons. I took dance lessons. I took piano lessons. I took voice lessons. I went back and started studying French again, got a French tutor so that when I went to Paris one day, I'd be able to really speak the language and get myself around. I poured into myself, and it felt so good because I had never done that as a kid. I didn't have the opportunity. And because of my background, I was really stuck taking care of others, whether it was siblings, a lot of times it was my mom, and I never really had the opportunity. And then when I left home, I wanted a career and I knew I had to support myself. So it was college, work. And I never really had that opportunity. So it was in my 30s where I really said, okay, I'm going to develop myself in these areas and use my creativity. And eventually I also took a lot of writing workshops and joined a lot of clubs. And then eventually I wrote my first book. This is my second book, by the way. But using that creativity as a healing modality is really powerful. So a lot of times when I talk with clients and I say, okay, what are you doing? How are you pouring into yourself? They go, well, I'm going out with friends. Okay, great. I'm so glad you're seeing friends. Really important. But how are you pouring into you? How are you accessing your creative abilities? How are you developing yourself? Take a cooking class, take a racquetball class, join a meetup group. I mean, let's do something to develop your skill set. That's going to make you feel so good about yourself. And for some reason, I'm not quite sure why, a lot of my clients are just really reticent to do it. Oh yeah, I'll look into it. And then a lot of times they just don't follow up. But I really encourage you, if you really want to get well, that is what you do. You pour into yourself so that you can fall in love with you, not in a narcissistic way, in a really healthy way. You have to be able to see yourself the way you needed your parents to see you, but they couldn't or they didn't, okay? The other thing that I really want you to focus on, if we're really trying to heal from narcissistic abuse, and this is tough, is to not ruminate and to not obsess. Because a lot of times when we've been abused by a narcissist, it's typically betrayal trauma. So they've cheated, they've lied, they've misrepresented themselves, they've done all kinds of things. And it can really just make your brain, kind of go on a trauma loop where you think about it and you think about it and you think about it. And it's really important to distract yourself in these healthy areas so that you're not ruminating. And sometimes what I have people do is say, okay, I want you to set aside 10 minutes a day to ruminate about the narcissist. Set a timer and go ahead and ruminate for 10 minutes. And then when that 10 minutes is over, you're done thinking about that narcissist for the day, okay? You can set up another time for the following day, but for that day, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And if you go, 10 minutes doesn't work, fine, give yourself 20 minutes. 20 minutes and then you're done. And the rest of the time, you have to focus on yourself, okay? What kind of life you want to live? Where do you want to live? What kind of work do you want to? Is it time to change careers? Is it time to go back to school? Is it time to, like I said, develop a skill? Figure it out for you. But if you're busy thinking about that narcissist all the time, you're not going to be able to make those decisions because you're not focusing on yourself. This is really when you want to focus on yourself, okay? And really and truly, the other thing you want to do is learn what attracted you to that narcissist and become it, okay? Become it for yourself. So was it the attention that you loved? Great, give that attention to you. Was it the fun and adventure that you loved? Great, how can you become a bit more fun and adventurous? Figure out what it was and then you give it to yourself, okay? It's easier said than done, but it's very possible. It just takes some diligence and it takes some practice. And finally, go on over to sparrowspalding.com and check out Uncaged. This is my journal/planner that I designed, and it's really and truly the best way that I know how to love yourself on the daily, because you fill it out every single day and you focus on you in the best possible way. I won't get into all the pages right now, but I will link another video above that dives into the journal and what it's about and how it can change your life. This is really a great way for you to show up for yourself. So, bottom line, healing from that abuse is focusing on yourself in the best possible way. So guys, if this video was helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, hug yourself from me. We'll see you next time.